I'm Chris.
I'm Adam.
I'm exhausted. I'm Topher.
So, we are back again for episode 4, season 2. And Topher's joining us once again.
You guys
Adam's
wearing the same
joining-
clothes. What's up with that?
I
crazy.
only have the one shirt.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I just have black
Amateurs.
t-shirts. You're never gonna know.
He's basically our Steve Jobs, with the including the verbal abuse.
Oh, wow. Really all it clicks, yeah.
Yeah,
Just with less money.
a lot less. Yeah. So, how are we this week, everyone? You're
You know,
tired,
a lot's going
Yeah.
on, but yeah, I'm
There's been a lot
super
that
tired.
happened in the past since the last episode.
Mhm.
I know. It's been a whole
Feel
40
a lot
seconds.
older.
Yeah. Wiser. We'll pretend. All right. So what are we talking about this week?
So this week we are going pedal boards, talking about tips and things for newbies, how to get started, things to look for.
Which is great because we were supposed to have a newbie tip at the end of last episode.
We
and
forgot to do it.
We didn't do that. But there's no going back now. So we're going to have a whole episode. Well, maybe there
We're gonna
is.
make it up for you.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it up to you.
There's a whole episode of newbie tips about pedal boards this week. Yes, because I think we've all built pedal boards. Some of us have literally built pedal boards.
I was kind of bummed that I didn't bring it.
Yeah, well, we can throw in some neat pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
I built one too. It just sucked.
Yeah, but I bet it wasn't as heavy.
Oh, it was not as heavy.
It should be noted that Topher is a metal fabricator and therefore is cheating. The flip side of that is Adam found some wood somewhere outside of his house.
I had various scrap materials,
We went
a
in
saw,
way
and
different ways.
some nails and screws.
Now, I have built a pedal board, but it was when I was having a bunch of surgeries and wasn't allowed to lift anything. So my dad helped me, and he did a lot of the work on it. So it looks really nice, but at the same time, I didn't actually do a whole lot besides spray paint and Velcro. So yeah, we're going over.
Yeah, I mean first place to start, right? It's choosing a pedal board itself.
Okay,
You gotta have the platform, right?
So I guess that question is, why did you guys decide? Like, what? Let me try that again. I think what that raises the question: why did you guys decide to build rather than buy your pedal boards?
That's just me, my DIY spirit. Like I build anything. Like if I can build something, I can look at something. It's like my first pedal board was you. I've had 2 pedal boards. It was
Yeah, he literally Velcroed
yeah.
the pedals to my
no,
chest.
No.
And I would lay on the floor.
The one that you gave me. The one he gave me a small one. I outgrew it, and I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna buy a pedal board. I want to make it."
Was that when you'd built, or was that what was it?
No, I think that was a pedal train maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
probably the mini or
Yeah,
nano.
what-
I should
Whatever
say,
one
nano
David
and
has
plus.
now.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I think it was one of the smaller pedal train ones.
Okay,
I think.
gotcha. Yeah.
It's been a while.
And you just needed a bigger board for what you were using at the time, right? When you
Yeah.
built your last one?
Yeah, before I did. I will say I bought one that was approximately that size or a little bigger since then because I kept feeling like it was going to collapse under my feet.
Yeah. Yes.
I built it when we moved into the house. We had like really terrible blinds that were destroyed basically, and the wood like over the top of the blinds at the top was very thin, but it was all just scrap. So I built it partly out of those.
Oh my gosh. So, running off that theory that you built your own boards to accommodate everything, did you base it off the number of pedals you wanted, or off the material, or how did you go about deciding that? You said you had grown into it, right?
Right.
Started small and grown up.
Yeah. I also sorry, what? What's the question?
I guess that what I'm asking is, did the number of pedals dictate the pedal board size, or did the pedal board size dictate the pedals?
The suitcase dictated the size of the pedal board.
Oh, the carrying case itself. That's actually a good method to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I didn't have a carrying case for the wooden one, so that wasn't great. No, I literally the size of it was dictated by the length of the blinds.
All right. I mean, it.
It was like, okay, I wanted to build something that wasn't just because I had gotten rid of this gigantic one for a while. I had the biggest pedal train.
Is that the
Or not-
Nova 32 or
maybe-
the Terra?
or it was like the tradition, the 32 by 16.
Okay.
I guess they have one bigger than that, I think, but that's the one you see that's big. I don't know, but I got rid of that and didn't realize I wanted something bigger than the one I replaced it with.
Okay.
So
fair
that's why I
enough.
built one out of wood, and it didn't work well. So we just bought another pedal train.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, what did I start with? I had that first one that I think I had planned out mine first. So I had planned out all the pedals I wanted, which is a joke. So there's there's newbie tip number 1.
You're never gonna stop buying. Once you start, you will never stop.
And trying to plan it out in advance based off
Thanks,
of what
Adam.
you think you need. He's your dealer, man. He's like, you get a taste first, and that's how you get into it.
I hadn't touched pedals until Adam. Like I went for the longest time. I was like, I don't need pedals. I
How
was
many
like- I
pedals
was a
do you have on your
purist.
board now?
have more than I need, more than I use,
I think I counted 12, 13,
something like that.
14 the last time I seen.
Got a lot of them.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know what I think the tip for that with a board size is honestly, like because everybody gets some pedals before they get a board typically, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever you think you're gonna put on there and plan for, I would always go like a slightly bigger size pedal board, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Or you could look at, who is it, D'Addario?
Oh yeah,
D'Addario?
they have the extending ones now.
Yeah. So that way you can start
Which are
small,
kinda cool.
and then it pulls out to expand.
Oh.
Yeah. That's they're
think
starting a market.
I think those will go up to like
put that
32
on-
inches too.
Put that on a picture somewhere on this.
Yeah.
It'll
Put
pop right up.
Yeah.
here.
Yep. You'll see it. But yeah, so you can go that route too. I switched boards a lot. I think you probably have too.
Oh yeah, over the years a lot of them.
But I've had a lot of pedal trains, so I had 6 sizes of the pedal trains.
I've
Yeah.
probably had close to that. I feel like there's a lot of brands out there and there's a lot of awesome ones out there, but like Pedal Train has been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Their stuff price wise tends to be sometimes a little more reasonable than
Yep.
some of them, and they're not very heavy as far
That's
as the
the big
boards
one.
go. They're pretty
They're
light.
Aluminum. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about making a board out of steel.
They really need to get some aluminum.
Yeah. Because I think your board weighs in the 30s of pounds,
Something
probably.
like that,
yeah.
yeah. But it's a tank. It's
Yes.
not gonna get busted.
That's true. That
It'll
is
hold up.
true. It'll hold 2 toddlers standing on it at the same time, won't it?
It will. It
Uh-huh.
will. So that's a plus.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. Moving on.
So yeah, moving on. Here's the thing that always causes fights, right? Do the patch cables matter? Like soldered, solderless. Build your own fixed length.
I can't be bothered. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. For me personally, like, I just need it. I don't care the types as long as it's a pancake. Those pancake ones are where it's at.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the flat sided ones. I've gone to the
Oh, yeah.
I've started using almost all EBS cables just because they take up less space.
You and I buy the same model, so yeah, flat
Yeah.
EBS. Yeah.
You gave me some patch cables a while back that were like when I with the first board, they were like white with a blue cable.
Those are really good cables. They're just
I say it makes me so nervous for how small and thin that
those
wire
are,
is.
the George L.
I was like, is this okay? It's so thin.
Yeah. No, they work great. I used that's George L cables. I used those for a long time. I honestly only switched away from those because I wanted to have less space between pedals.
Yeah, the flat. Yeah,
And they have the kind of domed knobs.
Yeah.
But those ones are great because those are actually kits. You cut the cable to the length you want and
Yeah.
you put the ends on. Now I know that some people hate the idea of a solderless cable. I personally have never had an issue with one or the other.
Yeah, I haven't really used them, but like I said, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I make everything else on the board. I don't want to have to make my cables too.
That's fair.
Yeah. So let's distill that down into an actual tip. So this is tip number 3. What are we going to say?
Wait. There's still the ones without. Do we want to talk about the ones without any cables? Do you want to tell people not to?
Oh, well, we've already included that as a tip.
Oh, did you?
That was
Okay.
the first
Wait.
day.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You're-
yeah.
Oh yeah, the video I watched.
The
all the way to
callback
the
on
end,
that.
Totally.
Don't use the double-ended plugs that have a cable.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, just like the one that I found that it was still in my room has been destroyed. So,
We might flash back to that
Yes,
here, and
yeah.
we'll talk about that. That'll be tip 2.5. So tip number 3, we're gonna say, how about do your research on the cables beforehand, buy a good rated one, and EBS flat patch cables are a good go-to.
yep, I haven't had any of those fail yet.
Knock on wood, me neither. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
But yeah, a good thing to do too after you build, if you're putting the board together, kind of measure distance and things like that, because sometimes you end up buying a bunch of 3-inch or whatever cables, and then you're like, oh, I got to get from one end to the other.
Yep.
So just planning ahead as far as cable length goes.
And so we'll call that tip number 4. And then tip number 5, we'll also say make sure that your cables are not under heavy tension, because that's how I've had mine go. So your pedals are too far apart, or you're trying to go around them, and then they're pulling on the end of the jack.
Yeah, which is all about measuring ahead and just making sure that you have the appropriate give on everything.
Correct. All right, what's next?
All right, so here's another one that everybody likes to argue about. Velcro.
I have opinions.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Velcro brand Velcro is best. The
Okay.
extra strength, in my mind. Now, I will make a concession. Rhett Scholl likes to talk about getting the, what is it, dual lock?
Yeah, the
with
3M dual lock.
3M dual lock and using different sizes. I've done that before, and it really works. You have to use a pry bar to take it off, or you will rip things off of your board. I personally prefer Velcro brand Velcro extra strength, and here is my pet peeve. Fuzzy side on the board, or you're a bad person. I'm calling it now.
No, that. I mean, I don't know about a bad person.
You,
I'm not that aggressive with it, but the fuzzy side has to be on the board. What are you doing?
We're done. Podcast over. I'm leaving.
Buddy, no.
I'm backwards. I do it backwards.
For me, it's I got a lot of cats and animals and stuff, and that sticks to the board.
German Shepherd dog hair.
I don't want it. I want
everywhere.
I can peel it off the pedals and stuff, and I don't. It's fine, whatever. I can replace it on but the hair just stays on the board all the time. I don't want that.
Tip number 6. Lint rollers work really well for the fuzzy side of the pedal board.
Good to know.
Yeah. So now that Adam's wrong, back to you. What's your?
So this is like, I've never had an issue with it, and I know a lot of people do. I just use the pedal train Velcro that comes in the thing.
Okay, I mean, and that's fine. Like,
Yeah, like
as long
I've
as you
never
put
had
it
an
on the
issue with
correct
it like
side.
coming off.
I got a mysterious bag of Velcro that I don't know where it came from, and it's just fine. I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever I'm given.
Yeah.
Whatever I acquire through Adam or you.
That's fair. The Velcro brand Velcro is $20 at Meyer. You get 40 foot, I believe, in a
wow.
giant roll.
What's that?
That's good. That's pretty good.
David's got that colored Velcro. Do you know what brand that is?
Pedal train makes them in like 7 or 8 colors.
That's pretty awesome. I like that.
I do need colored
even
Velcro.
neon like colors and stuff like that.
I need neon
You
green.
gotta have some pretty colors.
Oh, you need something to go with your purple pedal board.
That's true.
So I got two more things on pedal boards that I was thinking of. Kind of the extra cleanup stuff, zip ties,
Yep.
bottom, making sure the bottom of your board is tidy. You're not dragging electronic cables
Yep.
off, especially if you're gigging, things like that. Do you have a go-to on that kind of thing?
Yes, I do. This is another one of those I'm a little particular. I'm not super particular about it, but marine, what is it? Marine grade zip tie mounts are what I use. So they're these little squares. We'll put them up on the screen. You can buy 100 of them on Amazon for $6, and then they stick right to the board, and you can put zip ties right through them. They're good to go. Keeps all your cables managed.
It's the same thing.
Yep, do you?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and if you get the marine grade ones, that makes them waterproof. So if somebody spills a beer on your board while you're out gigging, nothing to worry about. They are a pain to take off. That's the only problem I've had with them.
Yep.
Zip ties, I don't have a preference on.
Yeah. So basically, when we're talking about that's especially when you have a lot of cables on the board, you're gonna have you might have cables passing under pedals that hang down under the board in places, and using that kind of system that lets you zip tie them up to the bottom of the board and keeps them out of the way, and also lets you zip tie like the power cables separately from the actual signal of the guitar cables.
Speaking of, here's a question. Have you experienced any problem, and I know that there are folks out there who have, running your... I've always heard run your power cables perpendicular to your audio cables. Have you heard that before? Yeah, there's something about like when you go to route all those underneath and clean them up, you want them you don't want stuff crossing over too much at weird angles because it causes hum. I don't know how true that is.
I've only had the funny thing is like I didn't pay attention to that at all until like more recent years.
Okay.
And I've only ever really had like the hum issue happen like a couple times.
And it seems to be more of a thing with what power supply you use than anything else, right?
Speaking of,
oh yes.
can we point out like how much power supply matters?
Yes, that was the next thing on the list.
Good.
Who wants to start? Let's talk about power supplies.
Let's just point out that never use what's that cheap Donner? Never use a Donner.
Yes.
Those things are.
So yeah, the big thing when you're talking about that like that and Donner, there's other brands that do the same thing where we're talking about like isolated versus not isolated power supplies. A lot of those ones that are like the brick style like that, they're really not any different than like a daisy chain. They're just housed in a box.
Housed in a box.
So they're not actually isolated in any way.
So we're saying we want isolation.
Yeah.
Because it helps get rid of audible hum. We want a reliable power source that is going to keep from frying your pedals, because we've seen that happen before.
Yes.
And there was a third thing I was going to say in there. Probably don't buy certain cheap import brands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Recommend me a good power supply.
Good powers, man. There are a lot of good ones. The one we were playing through earlier there, like that's a good bang for your buck one. That's a True Tone, like the one spot, like the big 12, but not the one spot like the little power plugs, power plugs, but the actual brick they make. So that's got 12 outputs.
CS12.
Yep, CS12. They make that, and I think they make a 7 output version. Those are both solid for the $.
They also make a super flat 6-port version that it's for low profile boards. That's what I use.
On my actual like bigger board that I use for gigging and stuff, I'm using Strymon power supplies.
The Strymon Zuma.
I'm using that's the bigger one, the Zuma.
Okay. Which one do you use?
That's what the big board I have a Zuma, and then my acoustic board I have I don't know how to pronounce it. Ojai, Ouija.
Ojai.
Ojai.
Strymon Ojai.
Yeah.
That's how I've always heard it at least. OJAI.
But those are both awesome power supplies. They have a ton of output, so like they'll power pretty much anything.
Gotcha. And after some problems with a few power supplies, you switched it up. What are you using?
I'm still using the MXR one.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the power supply. It was that pedal, that What was that blue pedal that? I can't even remember now.
Oh, you had the
full drive?
distortion.
Blue?
Yeah,
full
overdrive.
drive?
No, it was was it a Bogner?
Yeah,
Oh.
Bogner. Yeah, the blue Bogner. That was what.
Gotcha.
The pedal power supply was fine.
Okay.
It was just
You
shortening
also
it,
have a
so.
one control that you're running, aren't you, somewhere?
Oh, what?
You bought the bigger power supply. The black one.
Oh, right. The
I thought it was a one control.
well, there's I think it's an on stage.
On stage,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. Yeah, I have no problem with it.
What are you using on your baseboard?
That's the on stage.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, I think it depends on the kind of pedals you run into, right? As far as power goes, because some pedals, especially ones that have very low power requirements, can be less picky. If you have some kind of digital pedal with a lot of preset abilities and multiple DSP chips and things like that,
Yeah.
sometimes they suck a lot of juice, and you might have to have 350 to 500 milliamps from an output for that. So you paying attention to not just like whether it's 9 volts, 12 volts, 18, what it has, but also how much each output will supply.
Pay attention to the milliamps is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like more pay attention to what am I thinking? It's that old saying of you get what you pay for. Like you can find cheap power supplies and they look nice, but like
there's a lot of
It
stuff
really
I
is.
think in like being gear nerds you can cheap out on. You can really
Yeah.
long as you can cheap out on your guitar, you can cheap out on a lot of your
on a
pedals.
lot of pedals, yeah.
You can cheap out on your amp even as long as you like maintain and take care of everything, but you can't cheap out on a power
You
supply.
really can't. Like it sucks. Like you want to budget stuff, but you really, when it comes to power supply, you gotta
Buy
pay.
a good one.
Yeah, you'd be better off with a good power supply and a knockoff tube screamer and a Mosky clone of a Klon and whatever, like, because they're going to be fine as long as your power's clean and
Yep.
and it provides what you need.
Yeah, that's to go with that. Don't buy your cheap power strips if you can help it either. Furman is so cheap. Sweetwater has the Furman, the big one, for $25 right now.
Jeez.
Yeah, like buy good power.
Yep.
Because if you don't, you will regret it. You'll have to buy everything again.
And also with the Furmans, the great thing is their power strips. They all have extremely long cords.
Yes.
Like I think they're 15 foot.
Yes.
Nice.
So if you like to gig and things, it's helpful to have not just clean power, but a nice long cable.
Yeah, you don't have to bring an extension cord with you. Yeah. Anything else? Where are we at?
I think that was all the categories I had written down. Unless you guys got some stuff you think of covering on a pedal board.
Something I'd like to point out what I did with mine, with the one I built. Like if you are building your own pedal board, so it's actually a feature I don't really use that nearly as much as I was hoping for. Just because like whenever I go to a sound guy, like I'm like, hey, I got a DI built into my box. Like I built a DI into my board. Like I took the guts out of a DI box and just built it into my board. And but most sound guys are just like, I'm just gonna mic the amp,
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
which is fair.
Well.
Yeah, I'm like, but for me personally, I like to have that option where it comes out.
Yeah, I think that's useful for especially for like an acoustic kind of board.
Yeah, but the reason why I did that is I made it so that I built my pedal board so that I can just plug cables into the board itself, and that way if anybody's kicking my cables at a gig or something, or if I'm being rowdy and kick something, I'm damaging the connection at the board and not the connection at the pedal, because that's always one thing that worries me, is like damaging the pedal connection.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
No, that's smart.
Uh,
I don't have anything either.
buy a good tuner, too.
Yes.
Buy a good tuner for your board. It acts as a mute switch.
It's
Oh,
good.
oh, yes.
Yes.
Outside of the first pedal being drive or just whatever that is, yeah,
Yep.
Sooner should be right towards the front of it too.
Yeah, tuner's a good one. If you have a lot of pedals, you need a buffer probably.
Yep.
And
A lot of tuners have a buffer, depending if it's Boss or.
yep. All right.
Nice.
All right.
I think we're running out of tips. I'm gonna number those tips and put it down at the bottom in the description. Do we have anything else? Are we gonna wrap this up because everybody is just ready for bed now?
I think you're right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this nonsense today. We know it's been a wild ride. This was all kind of a last-minute recording session for us, and we threw everything together just pretty quick. I think we're gonna call it. So with that said, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I don't think we have Patreon updated, but hopefully we will by the time this episode comes out. Check out the Teespring store. We'll have some stuff up there. And then next time we'll pretend that we have our stuff together.
If there's stuff you'd like us to have together, as in topics, let us know.
Yes. All right. With all that said, we'll see you next time. Tune up.
Crank the volume.
Let it rip.